So here we go again. The more I look at, the more I need to fix. If you look down in there, there's a gap between the frame, it'll hold, and this rad support. Down here, there's an extra spacer. And of course the rubber is seized to the bolt. So that's one problem. But that spacer on that side is not on this side. It's got two washers instead. And that side had another shim washer as well. But down here, you can see the gap is considerably less. Where am I? Light here. Good luck on that. Let's try this. The gap here is considerably less. So the first thing I got to do is shim these even and see. The second problem is that this bracket goes between the two frame rails. And here, like I knew when I got the truck it was bent. You can see it's bent through there. Raised up here, which I could beat out, but here it's bent, and that's the side that goes on the driver's side, and this rail is higher. This is the side the truck was hit on, so I got to make sure that this frame rail is the same distance from the floor. I'll check a couple of different points, one being around here and then one being back where it joins back around where the cross member is for the motor, and see if that's bent before I shim everything up and get it even. The problem is, if this is bent, how do I straighten it? Unfortunately, my son-in-law has a small tractor on this property, so with great care I can take this off. With great care I can put the bucket here and keep the weight on it, and then use a floor jack to try and push it up. So my suspicion is that this rail is up and that rail is normal. Why it bent exactly like this, I'm not sure. I would have thought more of the bending would be here, but I guess this is the point of impact and that's the point that's fixed, so I guess it does make some sense. So the front tires are the same, so I'll make sure they're inflated the same, and then the back tires I'll make sure the axle, a point on the axle is the same distance from the floor on each side. And then I'll know that the truck's sitting perfectly level. And go from there. Now here's a surprise. The rad support bolts from the bottom mounted to the frame are threaded right through. So they go in there with the frame in between. I've got this beautiful little rust trap right there. Collect water like crazy. So I've used a tap and a die and clean them up. I'll lube them. I know they're not in great shape, but they're going back in. Probably put another 1/4 inch of rubber on top of that. It'll help seal it off a bit too. And other than that, these are 12mm 1.25 threads per millimeter. There it is. I forgot to film the adjustment procedure. I put the bucket of the tractor on here, and then I jacked it up underneath the pivot point for the stabilizer arm, the front suspension. And oh, this is 14.5 inches from here to the ground, same on the other side. And I've gotten the even spacing for the rad support. And that was not to do with the rails so much as it was to do with the shims that they had in there for some reason. So now I'll see how things line up with the hood and fenders. And then I've got this side to do yet, where it's bent up here. And I think I will just put a big flat piece of metal there, bolt it up, and then heat this until it straightens. The other way is to heat it red and beat it with a drift and a hammer, but that's a little cruder, so not that I'm averse to that, but I will do it the least damage way to start with. Here's my straightening jig. So I'll heat that portion up there where it's bent, tighten the bolt, and see what we get. It's starting to pull in. I want it to bend first nearest the rivet, because that's the crookedest. I don't want to lose my leverage. Or leverage. Aluminum, aluminium. It's all the same. Has nothing to do with steel, heating steel. I'm going to do this while holding a torch. It's not easy. I'm trying to avoid the camera. Okay, enough of that. Okay, a bit more heat, etc. Get the drift. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn off the camera for a minute and get right in there. I moved it again just to try and even things out a bit. So I'll pull down here, but I'm going to heat back here. So that's the part that's not only twisted up like this, it's twisted up like that. So here goes. I changed the bolt too, because the other one struggled. So here goes. I think we're done. Got the heat here because that was going down. I've got that pretty close to the mount for the steering box. I can beat that up a bit more, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. That's as close as I can get it. I have to finish it off with vice grips, heating that portion back there by the rivet and pulling it tighter and tighter, just about a 1/16 of a turn at a time on the vice grip, just to work it down. But somebody's really got to look to see that there's a problem there, and really there is no problem. So now to straighten the cross member, put the bumper back on. The job I never expected to have to do. So the cross member is all fixed. I just used heat and a hammer and a vise. So I heated it up, crimped it in a vise here. You can see how it's been heated. And flattened most of it, and then I just took it outside and beat it. And this I hit cold to straighten it out. And I ended up with a crease at the back, which I heated and compressed, shrunk it. And so it's all straight now. It bolted up perfectly. So I think everything's straight. Problem I found is, one problem I have is I bought a grill for it, and it's the wrong year. It's too small. It's meant for the later model. Well, that's a drag. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or even notify.
or any of the above, or all of the above. Thank you.